All right, we're going live right now on video as well. What's up, everybody? Just a minute. We're sharing some links and whatnot. Doing a little housekeeping.
Hey, I'm going to put my phone in the other room, Aaron, because I think that's what's happening.
Okay, cool.
But do I have to stay in the spaces, or can I just be on here? Because how are we recording the spaces? Through this?
Yeah, you can toss your phone in the other room. Just run over there.
All right, baby.
Dude, I'm getting double noise.
From me still? That's what I'm asking. Is it on your end or mine? Is your phone muted?
I think it's on my end.
Yeah, it's on your end. I don't think it's my phone. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, hold on. Sorry, guys. A couple boomers working through some tech here.
Okay. Because I don't think I'm a speaker on this, so I'm not picking up on spaces, which is all right. It's not catching me. It's only catching me here. I can't hear anybody else. No. But I think we have everyone on mute right now. Is Guido on, buddy?
Yeah, we'll pull them up in a minute. Let me see.
Guido, okay.
Guido, what's up, Guido?
There he is.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, hey, buddy. Great to see you. Great to hear you.
Yeah, you as well, man. Thanks for inviting me. Looking forward to chatting with you guys today.
Toronto represents, baby.
I didn't know. Are you from Toronto? Is that?
Oh, I grew up in Toronto. I grew up by Avenue in St. Clair.
I had no idea. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, dude. So I grew up until I was 19. I lived in Toronto. I went to UCC, bro.
Oh, very cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the area. I live in Yorkville. I just live like at Bay and Bloor.
Dude, that's super dope area.
Yeah, it's a good area.
I mean, I loved growing up in Toronto. It was sick. The weather.
Well, the weather's not. Yeah, if I can miss the winter here, I'll be a happy guy.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it was such a wonderful place to grow up. You could have a house downtown back then. Yeah. Public transportation. I didn't realize in retrospect. I went all over town when I was like a young kid. I'd go wherever because it was safe.
It was safe, man. Now you got to wear a shank-proof vest because someone with an ice pick might friggin' stab you on the subway. It's crazy.
Dude, it's way worse. It's way worse up there now. It used to be crazy safe. So
yeah. So whereabouts did you?
I lived on Warren. I lived on Warren Road.
Yeah.
Now I live in Marin County, in California.
Cool, man.
A town called Ross.
How long ago did you move out there?
Well, I moved to the U.S. for college. Actually, I went to undergrad at Duke in North Carolina. So I've been gone a long time. I graduated, and then I just stayed in the U.S. after. What was interesting, Guido, was I came back and interviewed for jobs, and I interviewed in New York and Toronto. And the jobs in New York paid so much more, from the jump.
Like you can't even compare. Like it's not even comparable.
Nobody respected my school in Canada either.
Right.
And then once I was down here, it's like literally everything's 10 to 20 times bigger, or even more. It's crazy.
100%.
So
the U.S. is a different animal altogether. I mean, I love New York. It's like my favorite city in the world. So
I lived there for 6 years. I lived there.
Oh, cool, man. That's really cool.
Actually, during 9/11, I was there.
Oh, wow. That's when I moved to Toronto. I moved to Toronto like September the 18th, 2001, like 1 week after 9/11.
No way, bro.
Yeah, that's when I moved.
I stuck around. I lived at McDougal and Houston, like a mile away. I'm sure my lungs are all fucked up. But
oh, geez, man. Yeah, that's crazy. What a time in history, eh?
Oh my God, it was so. I remember the day, dude. I was like watching. It was
me too. It was crazy. We
got to be down Fifth Avenue from Midtown.
We got to be about the same age, then, eh? Like I'm going to be 44 this year.
Yeah, I'm 48.
Yeah, so we're within touching distance. That's right.
Yeah, love it. We Burn, you can't.
Is Burn able to talk, or
no, Burn? If you want me to run with it while you're fixing that, you want me to start, or you want to wait 1 or 2 more minutes?
Yeah, go ahead and start it, dude. I'll play the song, but I'm hearing like everyone speak twice.
I think you must have one of your mics picking up the other.
Yeah, something's wrong, man, because I got like everything shut off everywhere.
Why don't I mute mine and see if that helps? Hold on.
No, Guido, it's not us. I think it's on his end. I moved mine and changed everything.
Guys, I fixed it.
Oh, you did?
You want to hear something cool? All right, I had YouTube open on my computer as well.
Oh, you.
So there was like a little delay. So anyway, we're good. My bad.
You watch porn on your own time, bro.
I had that on mute, but yeah, for sure.
Okay, let me pull up our little sheet and I'm good to go. Guido, we are just so hyped. I mean, before we kick in, I just want to say, obviously, you're such a legend in the space, and we've overlapped in OSF from the jump. We both are from Toronto, and I'm a huge fan of your work. And,
thank you.
And so it's just such a joy to have you on here. We feel really hyped.
Thank you, man. It's an honor to be here with you guys. You know, you guys are two of the cool guys in the space that move with integrity and authority, and you guys are, always doing the right things. And so I appreciate the kind words from you guys specifically. Thank you.
Respect, brother. So just so everyone knows, we're gonna do our standard intro, like Guido introduce himself a little bit more. And then Guido's gonna give feedback on the projects as well. So
perfect, man.
Yeah, he's gonna rate them. Now, Guido, I'm gonna warn you. We're gonna let you go, but when Burn Dogler gives his ratings, they're gonna sound really precise, but he generally pulls them out his ass, but uses the precision. So don't be shook. You can keep.
I won't be alarmed. I've been exposed to some of Burn Dogler's inner workings. I will not be alarmed.
Yeah. I told him if he pushes us too far, we'll put his art on.
No stress, man. No stress at all. It's all good. All
right. Burn Dog, let's rock.
Yo, all right. You want your song first or our song?
I mean, if the people want to hear my song, I'd be down with that.
Guido, you want to hear OG's song?
Let's hear it.
Rap, Guido.
Let's do it.
All right, here it goes.
Say a minute and 20 seconds. It's sort of an anthem.
Money click. 23. Let's get
it. Appreciate it, Brendan.
The hottest selling product, man. He trending on the topic. No, we hotter than the tropics. Yeah, you know my girls are goddess. Obnoxiously obnoxious. Give some fucks about the optics. Cause the market's always watching. Wish you never while I'm flossing. Never gonna drop it. Never gonna knock shit. Never stop till I'm looking down from the top. Get my cop beds till I dug cop drip. Dip to the studio, then done drop this. Flip them like they switches. I land in all they wishes. He stacked up like a pile of dirty fucking dishes. Dump your bitch, they tell you about them fishes. Hook won't fall in love, then it's finished. Yeah, we way I rocked it. Money click hotness. Lots in my pocket, and I'm not gonna stop this. Talk shit, knock you unconscious. Then consciously ignore my subconscious. We out.
So for those of you just joining from Twitter, that's OG's banger.
Yeah,
hold on, it's on loop. So yeah, that is a banger by OG. He raps as well. It's pretty sick. It kind of gives some like the beat gives some early Eminem vibes a little bit, and then OG's got his own style. So it's a banger, man.
Thanks, buddy. I'm gonna figure out what to do with that. I was gonna maybe make an NFT.
Yeah, that was good, OG. I had no idea that you were lyrical, that you were a musician. That's really cool. You have your voice is distinct, right? So that's like a trademark kind of a style. That was cool, man. Very cool.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, I always had a deep voice. I had a variety of throat issues about 10 years ago, and I had to get a massive amount of surgeries. It was terrible.
Oh, shit, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
I must hold back the throat jokes.
But for real, actually, in this context, but they had to cut out like my uvula, part of my throat, and it was terrible. So, as a result of that, and I used to smoke endless amounts of weed daily, like from the minute I woke up. The end, I like dropped and got even more gravelly. So yeah, everyone always recognizes the voice, which I guess is good.
Yeah, no, the song was cool, man. That's great.
Thanks,
I didn't know you were a musician.
I like to surprise motherfuckers.
That's good, man. Keep people sharp.
All right, thanks, Bern. Let's do this.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
It's a RugRoast. Please get smoked. You come with the real or you end up chokes. RugRoast. Yeah, it's a RugRoast. Where we poking the beer, we riding the bull, burning the cheese to host. RugRoast.
Another banger by J6. You all know him already. He makes a lot of good beats for the Rug Radio team. So appreciate that. So yeah, GM today.
Yeah. We're excited to have everybody on the show. We're gonna let Guido introduce himself, but before, just quickly wanted to say, I was in NFT NYC last week, and I think lately the tone on Twitter, the feel of the markets. Obviously, it's been brutal. A lot of people lost a lot of money, including me. So I think that you can't hear us again, Golden? They say they're having audio. We're having audio issues on the spaces, brother.
Spaces are wrecked again.
Yeah. That is not bueno. What, should we just go ahead and finish and then post after, or what do you think?
Is it rugging?
I don't think we should spend a ton of time. If it's gonna, I think we should just record it here and then post it, rather than unless Goalie can fix it. Or it sounds like we thought we had it right, but we didn't.
Yeah, let's just keep going. I'll share the YouTube link with them.
Okay, so I was just gonna say, it feels really grim. We've taken losses, and there were periods of summer of last year too where it feels pretty hopeless. And so, look, I think it's really obviously difficult and easy to use words, but I think the tone in NFT NYC was entirely unrecognizable if you had been on Twitter. It was the incredible celebration of art, of relationships, of it was really different than last year where PFP projects dominated the feel. And, there was a lot of talk. I feel like last year, all these PFP projects had a million promises of metaverses and gaming, and it all turned out to be bullshit, unfortunately. So what was interesting is there was a real massive surge of like art, and everything sort of mostly revolved around art stuff. And so to me, that was super cool. And super different. And then we'll keep it brief, but it sounds cheesy. When I first entered crypto, I was like, well, look, I'm some anonymous person dealing with other anonymous people. How am I ever going to know or trust a motherfucker, But it actually turns out you can get to know and trust somebody more in crypto actually than you can in real life, because in this game, you can see them every single day. If they're here, they're talking. You can see their wallets and see if they're full of shit. And then, so when you finally meet people in real life, I can't share enough how, I've been lucky enough professionally to do okay. Not had some personal hurdles like everyone, but I've never felt such a part of a community and such a diverse group of people. Going to these events in person, I can't recommend enough, because it takes you from sitting behind your computer, talking through the screen, to you're hanging around with some cool ass folks, talking about stuff you love. So anyway, that's a quick wrap up. And I think, if you can get a chance to get to any of these events near your town, or if you're able to travel, I strongly recommend it. And it'll really help make, when you're going through times like this, it sort of won't feel like terrible and as awful, because you're like, markets go up and down and shit. All right. Burn Dog, let's rock.
Let's do it, man.
Why don't you introduce yourself first? What we'd love to hear is where you're from, how you first got into photography and art, how you first got into NFTs, and then anything else you'd like to share with the audience.
You got it, man. First off, I'm gonna say that OG, like what you talked about with NFT New York, I couldn't have said it better myself. I echo everything that you said. Such a stark contrast to the one last year, and I think that sometimes what happens in this space is that the space is so small still that it becomes this like echo chamber of doom and gloom. But in real life, you got that too. Like if people take a step back and look at it from a broader perspective, I mean, the economy's wrecked anywhere you look, but there's still people that do well and they're still working and focused on what you're doing. So anyways, too long didn't read as you filter out the noise and you do what you got to do. And if you're always looking at the bad angle, there's always bad angles to find, right?
Totally, Guido. And those are opportunities.
100%.
When it feels the worst is the world telling you probably need to do something.
Yeah, well, you jump when it's scariest, right? That's the key.
Right,
so anyhow, yeah, in terms of me, I've been a photographer for over a decade now. I'm from Canada. I grew up in a small city called London, Ontario. It's about 2 hours west of Toronto. You're probably familiar with it, OG.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Western University is its claim to fame. And so, I started hairdressing at 18. I was a hairdresser for 22 years. The pandemic brought that to an abrupt end because I was, at the time, due to an unfortunate set of circumstances, I was living with my mom who was immunocompromised. And my father had recently passed away from a terminal illness. And so when the pandemic hit, I had to weigh like my mom's safety with being in the salon and working. So obviously I stopped. Where
was your salon?
I'm sorry?
Where was your salon?
Right in Yorkville, right on.
Bro, I'm telling you, that's how I knew your name. No way.
It's quite possible, yeah.
I'm like this motherfucker.
Yeah, I was right on Yorkville.
Amazing. I totally know.
And then the other one was on Bel Air. Like I worked at two of them.
No fucking way. Okay,
yeah.
that's amazing.
I mean, I
swear to God,
pass there, 100%.
I swear to God, we 100% have. That's so crazy. Okay, now it all makes sense. That's so crazy.
And so, so I had been a photographer. I'd shot a lot of stuff like editorial wise, like for GQ Italia, Playboy, other magazines. And when the pandemic hit and I lost my job hairdressing, to be honest with you, I was in financial ruin. I don't use those words lightly either. I was wrecked. I was a full out wrecked guy. And so I had this old collection of hockey cards and baseball cards, from the 80s, like late 70s and early 80s that I collected when I was a kid. And I said to myself, fuck, I got to see if I can liquidate these and make some money. And so I went online and I started researching, how to sell them and whatnot. And I came across this article about digital collectibles. And I said, hold on a second. What's it all about? Now, obviously I was familiar with crypto, but I had never heard of NFTs. And I basically read this article and, the rest is history. And I dived in head first.
So that was in what year?
That was in January of 2021, right when ETH and NFTs were just starting to lift off, is when I came across this article. And then in February, within 2 or 3 weeks of reading that article, I was grooving. I was minting stuff and trying to sell it and schlepping around Twitter, trying to build a following.
And then, you obviously accelerated to quite a position in the industry quite fast. If you gave our listeners a sense of, what kind of happened that took you to being able to sell pieces in the double digits and have people like OSF have. I think I looked once. I don't want to misspeak, but when I saw that OSF had literally hundreds of ETH of Guido, if I'm correct.
OSF was one of the big reasons I got my first big break, right?
Yeah.
So what happened was
how do you and OSF connect?
So yeah, I was schlepping around Twitter trying to sell. And to be honest with you, back then it was photography wasn't a thing, right? There were only 2 photographers really selling photographs. That was, Justin Aversano with Twin Flames and Drift with Where My Vans Go. And then it was pretty much there was no photography selling anywhere for any, considerable amount. And so, you know, I was just, you know, like everyone else, just trying to make a buck, trying to sell my pictures, trying to network. And, you know, I became involved with the DGens PFP project. You know, I got in the Discord.
What brought you to it out of curiosity?
So, you know, my friend and also artist, Jack Cato, was like, told me about this project. He said, yeah, you know, Jack, he said, like, I think this is going to be a really cool PFP collection. And, you know, OSF and Mando are really cool guys. You should check it out. And so I just joined the Discord, you know, not knowing anything. And then I remember being in the Discord grinding every day. And we were talking about, you know, I mean, back then, let me sort of set the atmosphere. You know, people used to grind in Discord all day, and Discord was a lot of fun. The jokes and everything going back and forth, and it was so fast paced. And people were all saying, like, how many are you going to mint? How many are you going to mint? And I said, I'm going to mint
whitelist, baby,
as many as I can, right? I said, but it depends on if I can get some sales before, you know, mint day. And then I remember OSF went and like bought my 3 pieces on foundation that had been sitting there for like 6 months. Like, what a gentleman, you know? He was like, there you go, man. Now you can mint as many as you want. And, you know, then that obviously sort of built, you know, the bond between OSF and I. And then I got on the super rare and he bought my, you know, my Genesis. And as they say, I guess, you know, the rest is history.
And I think, you know, Guido raised a great point. 2 great takeaways are, first, you know, until very recently, I agree. I think photography, the only thing harder in NFTs than photography is music NFTs. And 100%. So I think it's a while because it's, you know, for an NFT to be successful, an artist, it has to be immediately recognizable. And that's not as easy with just straight photography. So Guido has obviously stood apart both in the way he shoots his content. So it's I think he's dead right on that, and it's improved a lot. Guido, you've had a high impact on the space. The other thing I always point out is the partnership between artists and collectors is actually the basis of a lot of this space. And I think these wonderful stories you hear over and over, for every great, super successful artist, there's usually someone who believed in them early. So again, it's cool to hear that.
Yeah, 100%. You know, that bond and that relationship between artists and collectors, you know, probably the bedrock of any successful artist's career, you know. And to be honest with you, we see it with PFPs as well. I mean, most successful PFP projects have like a real core of, you know, diehard collectors that believe in the brand. And so I actually don't think it's something that's exclusive to art. Obviously, I've experienced it on the artistic side because that's, you know, my medium, but I think that's probably prevalent throughout the space.
Yeah, I think that's totally true. Bern, how much time do we have before we have to get to the guest? Bern,
like 30 seconds.
Okay, so then last question. Given your dedication as a mod in the chat room with Burn Dog, how do you feel? No, I'm just fucking. I love that. So for those of you who don't know, Guido is actually officially still a mod in DGens, which is super cool. Again, like,
he gets a lot done. He helps us a ton.
Yeah, whenever I'm banned. No, but I think it's really cool. Again, like, we talk a lot and we're trying to figure out and share, and all of us come together to figure out like what makes NFTs work or not. You know, it's not obvious always, and it feels random sometimes, but we'll stress over and over. Like, I think like a community, and then look, it's kind of cool. Like, it's part of the lore. Obviously, Guido's blown up, but he's like still listed in there as a mod. So I think a lot of the cool stuff in NFTs around community and having memes and stories that bring the community together is critical. So I think it's a really cool thing, and we're hyped to have Guido on the show.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
all right, I'm going to do it once only. What we say is not financial advice. Burn Dog and I are morons. Don't listen to anything.
Yeah, disregard everything we say on the show. But you know what, OG, to your point about community, like, people that remember DGens, I mean, we round tripped to 0, and like there was, you know, a group of us. I mean, we were all there. We didn't go anywhere. We were having a blast. And, you know, of course, we weren't happy that the project went down and nothing. But, you know, that loyalty and that camaraderie and that, you know, so that's a real sense of community. That was one of the reasons why, you know, I wanted to remain as a mod in Degens because like I got my start there, and I'm not going, you know, in real life, people know I'm not the kind of person that forgets where I came from ever. I mean, I get my hands dirty. I do what I got to do. I'm not embarrassed at anything. And, you know, for me, that's just like my origin story. And that's where I will be for as long as I'm in, you know, the space and OSF tolerates me. So
That's G shit.
Yeah, for sure, man. I remember being in there when it was 0 and you were there and we were grinding it out, and like you were super active when I rolled in and things were at 0. So it's crazy how the community's grown to a lot of loyal people, like several hundred that have that same loyalty from there. But without further ado, we'll get started. But first, we've got a little bit of a giveaway. So Hefner, who is a regular in Rug Radio, good guy for sure. He was nice enough to let me share my screen. And just grab this. Yeah, so he's nice enough to give away one of his Hefes. So these are super cool. He just started them like a week ago, making them. I believe they're AI, but he kind of changes the colors up. He's given pretty much everything away. I don't think he's even tried to sell anything yet. Actually, I'm pretty sure he has not. So he's just been kind of like giving these out to people. But today he's giving out this turquoise Hefe. I think these are sweet. I think it's a really great take on the frogs. I like the art a lot. I've got one that he sent me, so we're gonna give one away. So what you need to do, and we'll draw at the end of the show, is just do a little hashtag Hefe, Hefe, and I'll put it in the chat here. On the pinned Rug Roast tweet. So I got a pinned tweet. Go to the Rug Roast profile and just do hashtag Hefe, and then we'll draw at the end of the show. Nobody let me forget that we got to draw, because you know I forget shit all the time.
All right, Burn Dog, why not? So we'll do that right at the end.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Okay,
so
we have 2 projects today. What we're gonna do to make sure it's easier and clearer, we're gonna have Burn introduce the project, like basically 1 or 2 sentences, and then who from the project is on the line talking, so that that we all understand the context. All right, and then Guido, if you had a chance to listen to our other ones, we will, I'll go through some questions with them, and then at the end we can talk about it or ask them more questions. So if you have any questions, you can.
Sounds good, man.
All right, Burn Dog.
Yeah, man. So Crypto Sanctum is a P2E game launching on Arbitrum, which I find interesting, right? With any kind of gaming NFTs, you're better off building on a chain other than ETH, so people aren't getting smoked by gas. So I've never been involved in an Arbitrum project at all, so I'm kind of excited.
I did. I was like, I bought a bunch of this Samurai's project.
How'd it go?
Correct. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, let's get in with these guys and see how it goes. Yeah. I mean,
let's rock.
Yeah, I'm always.
So who do we have from Sanctum on?
It's just me here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, yeah, cool. I mean, you kind of did my job introducing it a little bit. I mean, that's exactly what it is. We're coming to Arbitrum. We're going to have our TGE at the 1st of next month, actually. And then
let's tell the audience before we move any further, your role in the project.
I'm the founder.
Yeah, and the little history of how you got here. How did you come up with, when did you first enter crypto and NFTs, and how did you come up with this project?
Yeah, so I don't know exactly when I started following crypto, but it was about 4 years. I mean, it's the same sort of story with everyone, I guess, that in the beginning of the pandemic is when I really started to get into it. I was working as a systems administrator, and I had literally just trained for this job and just gotten the job. And the week of that, it closed. The company closed.
Man, brutal.
and I was moving abroad. I already had a plane ticket. It was planned for a long time.
Mhm.
So I was just like, okay, well, I'll take a few $1,000s that I have and figure it out. So I got on the plane.
Where'd you go to?
Eastern Europe. So
Dope.
it's cheap here, luckily. But yeah, I kind of just said, okay, well, I'm gonna figure out how to make some money.
Okay, so
And
then when did you start work on the game?
we started working on the game over a year ago now. I don't have
Mhm.
the date off the top of my head, but
Did you have any funding, or when you started, how
yeah,
did you?
we did a community raise. So I did like I ran a trading group called Selective for a long time, for like I don't know, like 2 or 3 years or something. And we did very, very well. And once crypto gaming started to become a thing, I'm a lifelong gamer, so once that started to become a thing, I was like looking at the projects and they're all like the shittiest games ever. I mean, you can tell when it's just like a recycled game with like a really half-assed reskin. So, and these
Which,
things are getting huge funding. So I'm
Yep.
thinking like, well, we may as well just do a proper game, with some soul, with some effort, with some like real like actually trying to do something interesting, not just taking a shitty game and slapping crypto onto it.
Yeah, and I think this is a really interesting point. There was a ton of hype around gaming last year, and I think people weren't anywhere close to ready. If you look
Yeah,
at
that's the
VC
thing. It
funding
takes a
data,
long time to make a game.
yeah, exactly. If you look at VC funding data, we're like probably actually 3 years into people leaving the big companies to try to start. So I think we haven't seen much of gaming, and what we've seen hasn't done well. So up until recently, my general view was like, I don't want to invest in gaming NFTs. I think gaming and fashion are the two most like next big easy apps, and hopefully music. But I'd say fashion and gaming, I think, are getting developed to the point where it's possible that could be like.
Yeah, I mean, gaming's not going anywhere, whatever people say, and there's some
No
real
way.
benefits to having.
Huge. It's gonna
Uh,
grow.
yeah, there's the real benefits to having like a financial system already integrated just by the fact
100%.
of being part of crypto. I mean, I can say that it's even harder to develop a game that uses DeFi, but it really has some benefits that are like tangible and real. And being able to access just plug straight into a real economy with your game, that's what's already there. So that's something most games can't even do.
So why
So
did you choose Arbitrum?
well, we said from the beginning we're actually like chain agnostic. Whenever we first were building on Binance Smart Chain, but now we'd rather be on a little bit like a chain with a better reputation. So we would like to be on ETH, of course,
Yeah,
but that's not
I
really
disagree with
feasible.
Burn. I would do. Do you think it's possible to have ETH as where you settle ultimately, but that you do all the in-game transactions like NFT Worlds was going to do with its own token, and then you basically act like layer two, and then go back to ETH? Is that possible to do? You think, or do you
Yeah,
think
I
you have
mean,
to
all of
use
it's
the
feasible, of
existing-
course. It's just what you
What's
want
the
to spend your
cheapest,
time
best,
developing.
easiest way you think?
What's that?
Is using existing L2 the best way?
Yeah, I mean, it's just what you want to spend your time developing. I mean, if
Mm.
we wanted to spend our time to make this sort of system, we could do it, but we'd rather at least first make a game, because that's what I think is really missing in the space is like actual games that are like you can't play other places.
What
I
do you
mean,
think are the best 2 or 3 games in the space right now that come to mind?
I don't really like any crypto games, to be honest.
Okay. What do you think is the most overrated without shade? I'm just
Well, I mean,
curious.
of course, Axie is the most overrated, right? I mean, it's not really like there's nothing to play even really.
Yeah.
Uh,
What
I
do you
mean,
think
that's
of
sort
the
of
Board Ape game?
what's that?
The Board Ape thing. What do you think of that?
I haven't played it.
Does you
I
think it's
I,
too risky?
I like
I
it.
mean, we've been kind of heads down focused on the game. I haven't been following like the past like few months too much, but Bored Apes game, I've seen like some mini games and stuff like that. Do they have like an actual full launcher? I mean, I know like every NFT project was like, oh, we'll make a game, and it's like,
I mean,
okay,
yeah, if I was in gaming,
Yeah,
I'd
so other side, they've had 2 rounds of testing. So it's definitely not fully done. They've got a
yeah,
lot of work to do, but the mechanics, the graphics feel really good. I played both of them. And I'm a gamer. I've been playing video games my whole life. And it felt good, It depends on how they lay things out and what they do with it, but I think it's got a good chance of being successful for sure.
Yeah, just like in real world gaming, you're gonna have like opportunity for AAA studios, which is like let's say Axis and Sandbox and stuff like this, and then also indie developers, which is like us with a smaller team and we can make more interesting kind of handmade. I do all the writing for the project. We have like it all handwritten stories and stuff like that. And I also designed I do most things except for developing. So I like did all the design for the game, stuff like that, tried to make it interesting. It is interesting. I mean, you can play it now.
Why don't we do this? That's what I was about to say. Why don't you now summarize sort of what you have today, what the actual NFT portion is, and what the plan for the project is, and then hit on any details like estimated size, price, timing, how you're allocating, etc.
Sure. So right now we already have available to players. So the game is going to initially take part in 2 modules, and one of them is a turn-based combat system where you can have up to a 3v3, and you use our NFT.
Let's assume people don't know anything about it. So what kind of like give them some context? What kind of game is it? What are you?
Okay, well, imagine like Axes, if you know Axes, except for you're actually controlling the people instead of them just shooting stuff at each other. So it's the same sort of thing where you have an NFT that's one of your characters, and you can assemble a team of them of up to 3 and fight another team of them of up to 3, and it's like in turns you fight each other, and it's not just a turn-based game. We have like a unique spin on it to try to make it unique. I mean, that's maybe for
what?
Yeah, it's maybe hard to explain if you're not a gamer and you have know nothing.
No, I'm getting it. That makes sense.
Basically, okay. So basically, I can say for Burn, he'll get it for sure. So like basically, the main difference between our turn-based game, other than the fact that it's in DeFi, is we have like a system where most spells, whenever you cast them, they actually apply not immediately, but on the next turn. So that way, like the enemy side has a 1 turn to react, basically. And this is like not something I've seen. Maybe it exists, but like it's kind of something I always wanted to see.
You don't complete a round, everything's settled, and then start the round and do whatever your action is and complete it.
I mean, it's easier once you like feel it in game, I guess. But basically, I just wanted, because a lot of turn-based games, you get into a thing where like you're not even playing against someone because whatever they cast is going to happen anyway, you know? So you're just hitting each other. Okay. But I wanted like to be able to, I wanted you to think like, I mean, you could play it mindlessly too.
And so, sorry,
of course.
Is the idea that people who have played Axis will be an easier audience to recruit is it a similar feel and format?
Well, I mean, it's similar in the sense that like it looks similar, not in the art style, but like the way they're positioned and stuff like that. But it's a different game. I mean, really. Okay, and it should be.
It would be easier for somebody who's played Axis to quickly get up and running.
Yeah, that's good. For sure. I mean, it has similar mechanics. What's that?
How much money did you raise?
$700K.
Okay, and how many NFTs? So can you buy an NFT from your project?
Yeah, so you can only buy them right now on our own marketplace. We built like our own proprietary marketplace, which has a custom UI and stuff like that. So you can actually hop on right now and buy it by now. I would suggest to wait until we're on Arbitrum and then you can buy it. But yeah, you could jump in right now. And actually, the pawns right now are still going to get airdrops tokens. So technically, anyone could participate in a pre-sale right now even. But you have to buy from other players, basically.
So the tokens, are those like in-game tokens or?
Yeah, so it'll be used throughout the in-game economy. It'll be used for everything from when you send I didn't discuss another part of the game, but it'll be used for crafting, everything in-game, basically. I mean, it'll be used to trade.
What's the other part of the game?
What's that?
What's the other part of the game so people know, so they can be excited or not?
So the other part of the game is like an idle kind of part of the game where you can send your characters on missions, which are like kind of like a handwritten story you can read, and then you have to allocate them in a certain way based on their strengths and to like, I don't know, beat this quest. And then after a certain amount of time, it'll come back with a story of how it went. Like we have a system basically where, well, it's maybe too much to explain, but like basically it writes the story based on how your characters did in the game. So like it comes back with a report basically. So like it's a medieval like fantasy game, and like the idea is you're a guild master and you control a guild of characters like adventurers. We call them pawns.
I was into gaming. as well.
Yeah.
No
Anyway, so I don't mean to like
no,
talk
I
down
like
on
it.
your
Okay, so
credentials.
quickly. No, I don't. I was joking with Burn Dog, not you. Yeah. Okay, so how many NFTs do you plan on offering total?
We're gonna have like a soft cap for NFTs, so you can always mint them, but to control supply, it'll get more and more and more expensive as you mint them, and
So where's it starting
then we
with
have
Burn-
another. What's that?
So where's an example of where something would start?
Where someone would start to play, you mean?
Start price. So I come in today and I buy one. It's what, 0.0 whatever, or point, what is it?
Well,
I'm
I
just
think
trying
they
to
were like,
understand. So you're saying you're not having a fixed amount of NFTs, but you're using the more demand, the more price goes up. Transient actually has a very interesting contract that's structured this way, where like the more people buy, the more the price goes up.
yeah.
Is
So
that what you're
basically, the way I approached crypto gaming was I kind of identified the problems I saw in it, and then tried to specifically target these and like fix them. Instead of just making another project, I tried to like do something different, innovate a little bit. And one of the things is like having an elastic supply of pawns, and then also having a way to destroy pawns for a reason. So like there's gonna be two ways to create a new character pawn, and that's through crafting, which you will need to destroy other pawns to do, and also just through minting. So as minting price gets higher, it'll be people will be incentivized to use the other method to like try to create better ones. So that way, it gives like some base value to even, let's say, a really basic shitty
a bird
pawn.
issuance combined like in a stable coin almost. By the way, Guido and Burn Dog, hop in. I didn't mean to ask if you guys have some questions, please.
Yeah, I actually just wanted to jump in a second and ask. So is this is this play to earn? There are rewards and somehow like through the player versus player or the quest version as well? Are they both?
Yeah, it'll all have rewards. So there's already a multiplayer system involved, so that you can fight against each other, and the quests will be PvE. So like you'll just be going. I mean, you're not gonna be fighting people on an idle game, but on the turn-based game, you can fight each other, and there'll be rewards for all of it. We don't have the reward system is not done yet. We're still working on it, and so on the first we do TGE, and then about a month afterwards, we're shooting for mainnet with our economic system and stuff like that.
Right. And so will the rewards will it be possible to exchange the rewards for like for Arbitrum or for other tokens, or is it just in-game reward system?
Yeah, you'll be getting our currency, our token as a reward. So it'll play to in-game as an R token. We'll try to, one of the things, of course, is like runaway inflation with stuff like that. We have a few systems like that are in place to like try to fight that, and we'll try to do as many rewards as we can with in-game rewards, stuff like that, like new NFTs. Maybe we have an item system for the characters, so you can attach items to them, and we can give those as rewards.
And then people can sell those items on the marketplace and that kind of thing.
Exactly,
is that the idea?
Exactly.
Awesome. Cool, man. Sounds cool.
So are you going to have in-store shops or where people can essentially use the tokens and they just get burnt forever to help control the supply then?
Yeah. So it'll actually just go to, so basically one thing is basically that I saw as a problem is these supplies getting just endlessly inflated. And something we wanted to try to do is have a fixed supply, so we can't just freely mint, and try to control the supply and keep reserves for when times are good, and then inject money back in when times are bad. Because if you look at a chart of a gaming token, you'll notice they have like a couple weeks of it doing really, really well, and then everyone who actually plays the game is fucked, and everyone who just leached money out of it is like fine. So we wanted to reward the people who actually play the game. So during like good times, we'll stockpile money and convert it into real assets, something like ETH or something. And all the extra money we have from
you guys will
also put into the treasury and convert it to
you guys will take treasury and buy and sell other currencies based on your judgment of where the market is.
Yeah, the whole point would be to stockpile only when, like, let's say if we're pumping or something like that. We're not going to just destroy the pump or something like that. We have taxes in place already, stuff like that. We'll be taking money out of supply. We can even implement some burning and stuff like that. But the idea would be to build a treasury that we can maybe do other things with, invest in other projects, and that money will go back into the game economy.
So I've got a concern with that. So you would take your token and maybe buy ETH, or just as an example, you'd buy ETH and then invest that in another project. Is that correct?
Yeah,
As
that's
an
one
example.
example of what we could do. It would be up to the community what we do with it, of course.
All right, so that's a concern, because if you're trading your token openly on markets, many would say that makes it, it could possibly, we don't know for sure, but that puts it in risk of being a security. So there are some issues with that. And what I've seen from other projects that I'm involved in is you can't, the team cannot be involved in any way in any type of liquidity pools or trading your tokens or anything like that. So that's a free bit of advice to keep you out of compliance trouble.
And Bird Dog, how are we on time? I know you're the clock master.
We've got, well, it took us like 10 minutes to get started because I don't know how to use computers. But we've got
You
like,
still don't. Nobody can hear us on Spaces, apparently. I'm getting messages.
yeah, I know. We'll say like 2 more minutes.
Okay. Do you have any more questions, Guido or Burn Dog?
No, that was mainly my my question was about the rewards.
I guess I understand what you're saying about the game a little bit. I think one of the challenges, I'm trying to visualize the game a little better, and I've seen Axes. And also, it seems like, to Burn Dog's last point, I guess I'm having a little challenge because I get it when I've run businesses, and actually the correct answer is to have flexibility. Hey, if this is happening, we want. So I have no issue with that. I think the challenge for me is it seems like many potential things that could radically impact the risk profile and upside of your project. Like if you guys go and buy ETH when you think it's high or low, look, that's if that was, I have a CFA and MBA, I manage hundreds of millions of dollars, and I'm not trying to say that as like, but I'm saying, so I did this professionally, and I fuck that up all the time. You know, that's like really hard. If that was easy, we'd all be rich. So what I worry about is, you know, I like the part as a guy who ran businesses. Like, this is what I always tell startups and artists. You never know what the fuck's going to happen with your company or your project, because you may go in with one intent thinking you're starting one thing, and you need to be flexible enough that whatever the market tells you it needs, you do that. So I think the only, are we getting their screenshots? Sorry. Yeah. So the only thing, I would say is, probably some precision around my understanding of the project and sort of how and why it's different and will win. I would probably, if you had a little more, if you could explain it to somebody like me in a way that was easier for me to understand, it probably would make it easier for me to be more confident in the project, if that makes sense. Is that fair?
So like, if you could do it with pictures.
Just kidding. No, pictures.
Yeah, I mean, we will certainly before
I see
midnight.
this right up. I've seen. Look, they just shared for everybody. Crypto_sanctum. You can see some of the characters. You can see some of the supply and crafting details. So I think that's super helpful. It looks a bit like Forgotten Ruin. But actually,
yeah, we're going for like a kind of early 2000s RPG art style. This is like my heyday of gaming, and I really like it. So we have really talented artists working with us.
It's good.
Yeah, I like that
vibe. It's sort of like yeah, I see the characters. It's pretty fucking cool, actually. Yeah,
I appreciate
it.
All of our UI is all custom, and we've got, it's a web app, so you can just hop
like
right on. You don't
pixelated, right? It's like that's like
it's pixel art. It's pixel art, so it's done by hand. Every pixel's placed individually.
Oh fuck, man.
Yeah, I don't envy our artists, to be honest.
Yeah, I've done a lot of work. Pixel stuff. It's fucking exhausting. I guess there's some programs it's easier to do it, but
it's okay, cool, dude. I mean, I like the pixel art for sure.
I'm a super into pixel art.
I appreciate it. And whenever you see it fully animated and stuff like that, it really comes to life. I mean, you can actually just I think there's a video of it. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see kind of the UI.
Okay. Hey, Burn, I'm getting told that they can barely hear me. They can hear you, and they can even worse hear the project. So we'll fix this next time. The good news is we are getting it on StreamYard. So
Yeah, YouTube's working, right? Just Twitter's messed up.
the Spaces is not working. So I just want to give that feedback. Okay. And I recommend everyone go look at crypto_sanctum, SANCTUM right now. Okay, Burn Dog. Now, Guido, Guido, would you prefer that we go first and then you go, or what I'd prefer, because I think it's way cooler not to bias somebody, is you go and rate the project first because you're our much better guest host. And so rather than us having any way of framing it, I'd much rather you just do whatever you want and rate it. Or if you prefer, we can go first and then you can go after. What do you prefer?
No, I'm totally fine rating it. Am I just going to talk about it, or what do you want me to do?
Number 1 to 10, and then give your feedback on what you thought. Anything that could be given your success in the space.
So,
anything. Just be straight with people. That's
no. I think look,
be honest.
So
useful and be useful for them.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I'm a gamer as well, and so I'm very familiar with like the 2000s style gaming, role playing. I like that particular genre of gaming where it's a little bit more thought provoking. I've yet to see a game in the crypto space that's for me engaging. I've also yet to see a real successful game in the crypto space, to everyone's point. But having heard that what they're working on and how they're positioning themselves, I think that if they can figure out this in-game reward system and token, it looks like an 8 to me on a level of 1 to 10. It seems like they've sort of dotted their I's and crossed their T's.
Because Guido coming out with an 8.
I like it. I think it sounds good, and I guess then we'll just see how it unfolds, how it executes.
It's a good score. It's a damn good score.
Man, an 8 from Guido. Jeez. I sent him news and he rated him 5. No, I'm kidding. All right, Burn Dog, you want me to go next or you want to
go? Go for it, man.
Okay, so I actually did game and I love gaming. I'm not an active gamer now and was always mediocre at it. I really like the look of the art, and I think there's it's really been hard to come in I was sort of a D&D nerd as well, and I think there's this like big sort of D&D-ish sector that even Goblins and some other stuff touched on, where there still hasn't been sort of the same, the success in NFTs that there has been in the real world. The art looks cool. I'd say for me, the challenge is I think gaming's a hard space. I think some of these things you won't know till I see. And it's like a very difficult to contextualize without seeing what you actually do, because specifics matter a ton in gaming. Like, what exactly do I have to do this? Is that fun or not? Is this? And it does seem, like I said, not in any kind of bad way, but you're right to keep a lot of control, but it's just hard for me that if I'm like, well, I don't know, I'd have to see how good this guy actually is. And so, I don't like personally, no controls around capital allocation or are not very stringent ones, because I've been in many DAOs and what always happens is they start like this. Let's spend our money to do this little tiny thing. And the next one's twice as big. And by the end of the fucking week, they want to buy a CryptoPunk and then they use all the money and you're fucked. So, and it's very hard to function as a DAO. So I came in big eyes wide open, hoping, but I'm probably biased against that. And then, I don't like supply. I never liked stable coins, particularly algorithmic ones. And this will effectively be, not to simplify and be dumb, but again, the specifics around how supply grows and is burned will determine a lot. And so I just say for me, this project, I like the art. The teams had money, which I like to see spend money. They're in a segment of gaming I think is interesting. Art looks cool, but all those other factors would make this one wouldn't work for me at this point. And I'd have to see how it all pans out and revisit. So I'm trying to be more formal with my ratings. And let's assume I want everyone to know I start with most NFT projects are 0 because that's where they end up. So the average is actually 0, not 5. 10 means like it's the craziest thing you've ever seen. So 5 means it's like got, a shot. So I'd say, look, I'm concerned because I've seen so many game burnouts. I'm concerned because I don't, you're going to need funds probably. And so I'm probably, with all due respect, like I think there's a lot good here, but my rating's probably going to be 5.5.
All right. Yeah, good feedback there. So, like I said, I like the fact that the game is going to be on Arbitrum. Like I would like if you can, like OG mentioned, like mint the main NFT on like an ETH or something like that, just because you're going to hit so many more people. There's a lot more exposure. I like the art. That's cool. I like the idea of having a PvP and PvE. I kind of look at like
And
a wolf
attracting
game.
Axie's gamers. Sorry, Bern. I dropped that. I dropped the ball on that. You're right.
Yeah, I kind of like. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Wolf Game. I've never played it, but just like looking at like stuff I've seen from it, something kind of like that, I guess, which actually has been pretty successful. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, the idea of trading your coins openly on the market is definitely a major concern. So I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I probably wouldn't do that if it were me. But there's other ways to control supply and things like that. So that said, I mean, I'm gonna be in between these two. I'm gonna give it a 7.365.
I told you, Guido.
And OG likes when I'm very specific with my numbers. So I'm gonna give it a 7.365. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's what I had.
And I think again, rating scales are different between each judge and what that we all weight. So I would never want to guess. I want people to come on here and feel they got supported and earnest feedback. And the reason you're here is there's a lot of great stuff on the project. And I think hopefully we're helpful in our feedback. So thanks so much.
Sure. I appreciate the feedback, guys. And I just want to jump in really quick and say that we're actually definitely not a DAO. I don't think they work at all. So, and we will have controls. And we'll go a little bit more we'll go a little bit more into the economic system before mainnet, before we actually launch it out. We've put a lot of thought into it, and I mean the key part is we're going to try stuff different and we're going to be flexible.
I like it, man. Yeah, and for anyone, again, it's crypto_sanctum. I posted their link. It's all over our Twitter. I put it on the YouTube as well.
I appreciate it, guys.
Check them out. All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Have a good one.
Thanks again. Burn Dog, you want to bring up the next guest, bud?
Yeah, they're already up.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey.
Welcome.
Yeah, so we've got Lost Boy. It's a music NFT. They are, let's see, an independent record label launched in August 2021. They're focused on music and mental health. So yeah, obviously experienced, and it's a music NFT, which
Hey, who do we have from the project on?
The founders.
Want our audience to know.
Yeah.
So my dream, by the way, I'm biased. Music NFTs are hard, but I want to release music NFTs, and I'm trying.
Bro, I heard the song you guys launched in the intro, and as I mentioned in the chat, I would love to send you some beats.
Yeah, let's rock, man. I like to freestyle, actually. That's the fun part, too.
Okay, I got you. I promise. After this spaces, I'm going to hook you up.
Rock, G.
Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, man. Good to have you as well.
Yeah, and let's share the Twitter, Burn Dog, so everybody can be looking at it while we're talking.
I'll
Why don't you say it out loud? Just say it out too, so for people.
It's lostboyNFT.
Yep. Okay.
I hate the word NFT, by the way. I fucking hate it.
Digital collectibles.
Why do you change it? Why don't you do like
we're
XYZ?
No, it's gonna be Lost Boy Universe pretty soon. Yeah.
That works.
Lostboy.wtf. Maybe that's 220.
Or that, yeah, or that.
It is interesting. Just before we dig in, I mean, obviously, one of the cool things now in Web3 is like, if you have .com, it's not cool. It's like, what is cool? And I agree with you. Having NFT in your name, even though I'm all into NFTs, it's not the right way. So
It's not. Yeah, it's not. It's not. And we've been planning on changing this for a while now, but we've just been prolonging it. But soon enough, we're gonna change everything. We're gonna change it all.
All right, let's get lost. Why don't you tell us about what the project is in a short summary, and then a history of the project, how it got started, if you've raised money.
Awesome. Okay, so thanks for having us. Obviously, I go by Rami. I'm a music producer and I'm an artist from Lebanon. I live in
I'm
the
half
UAE.
Lebanese.
No way.
I swear to God, my parents.
No.
My parents are from the Caribbean. They were from a little island called St. Kitts. My dad's family is Lebanese. My mom's is English.
Fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah, for real. I swear to God.
When was the last? Have you ever been to Lebanon?
I have never. I sort of growing up, because my parents were both born and raised in the Caribbean, even though my dad like highly values his ethnic heritage, I was much more connected with the Caribbean personally. Like we'd go spend 2 months a year. I sort of like think more culturally Caribbean, but our like family and one of my Lebanese friends jokes, all the standard Lebanese stuff, like if you don't waste half the food, there wasn't enough. All that kind of shit,
That's
I grew up with that. Cool.
I mean, you should make a trip.
Bro, my brother went and he said it was so sick.
Yeah, I'm saying you should, like, especially
I
this
gotta
summer.
do it. I gotta do it.
You should.
Absolutely.
I live in the UAE right now. I've been in the music scene for quite some time now. I have an artist project called Rami, and I've accumulated over like 120 million streams on Spotify under my own brand. I've worked with artists.
Legit.
Yeah, I've worked with artists such as Nick Jonas.
On what platform?
Sorry, Spotify.
So you got how much? If you don't want to share, I understand.
Yeah.
For 120 million streams, how much a motherfucker make for that?
So, based on
revenue,
it's all up, like approximately for every million streams, you get about $3,000 to $4,000. But
that's fucking bullshit, bro.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
That's you'd scream a million times.
This is why we're here. This is why we're here.
That's some fucking bullshit. Like
I know.
So you do. So let me get this right. They get 120 million, and you get like that's crazy. Anyway, okay, sorry.
It's criminal.
That's without the splits that I have with other artists on my song.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Plus manager, plus
100%.
Like you have to have, because I have published some music. Not seriously, but then you have to like pay. You buy law. You have to have like representation and join fucking various like unions. And
that's a tough world out there.
Fucking want to, and by the end of it, they've taken. So even with that, anyway, we can talk about that. But it's an interesting thing.
But yeah, I've worked with artists. I have an official remix for Nick Jonas. I have some production credits for Burna Boy, McConan, and DJ Snake on his latest album. But that's enough about me. Prior to NFTs, Lost Boy has been an independent record label that was created with the purpose of releasing music that was not limited by a genre or a style. The reason for that is obviously I'm an artist myself, and I always felt limited to what I can and I can't release because everything had to fit on quote unquote brand. And I never really understood that because creatively, I felt like I felt like I was always being trapped in a box. And for me, creating lo-fi music was a way to deal with the depression and anxiety that I was dealing with at the time. But I never really wanted to just keep all these songs on my hard drive and not share them with the world. And as a result of that, I began releasing music under the Lost Boy label with different alias accounts because I really want to release the songs that were genuinely making me feel better, in hopes that someone who was going through a tough time or was
What year was
struggling.
this?
I would say 2020. 2020, yeah.
So like during COVID and shit.
Yeah, for sure. And in late 2020 to early 2021, I managed to release around 150 songs. And since then, we grew our main lo-fi playlist on Spotify to over 100,000 monthly listeners.
What's the name of that list?
You
Lo-fi.
could you can find it. It's called if you search. Wait, let me get the name for you.
Lo-fi.
If you search, sorry, I'm loading it up right now. If you search Lost Boy Universe, you can find all our playlists that we have on Spotify. But the playlist,
so what are you bringing to NFTs?
Yeah, so
they have.
Yeah, so this is what I wanted to talk about. So, since our NFT launch, prior to NFTs, actually, no, let's talk about our NFT launch. Since our NFT launch, we managed to release over 150 songs, and we decided to incorporate our Lost Boy character that was the main logo as the main avatar in our PFPs. But we didn't want to just release a PFP. We decided to add reactive. That's not the main playlist. I'll send you a link to the main playlist right now. Wait, let me just copy them.
Just so the listeners have it available. There we go. Cool.
Yeah. We didn't want to just release a PFP, so we decided to add, and keep that in mind, this was in August of 2021. We decided to add reactive backgrounds and lo-fi loops to accompany the PFP that we had. And the main purpose behind our NFT launch was to inspire a generation to pretty much unapologetically be themselves, because as you can see in today's world, it helps to share your mind with supportive and growth-minded individuals in a community that welcomes you, and that's what Lost Boy has always really been about. And since our NFT launch, from our mental health approach, we donated a percentage of our initial proceeds from 2021 to Mental Health America. We've launched multiple campaigns, such as our Speak Up campaign, where people can vent and write.
What percent did you donate?
20%.
That's legit.
Yep. We've launched multiple campaigns, such as our Speak Up campaign, where people can vent and write about whatever's on their mind, share it with the world.
I fucking hate Bird Dogler.
Exactly. You should have seen the messages we got. It was fucking hilarious.
OG keeps sending me dick pics. I won't stop.
We got a lot of those. Trust me. We used to offer daily lift ups on our Discord, just a sense of a push for whoever needs it. We used to hold weekly tourist spaces, and eventually, recently, we partnered with Mental Health Mental Health Collective, because we believe they're the leaders for mental health support and awareness in the Web3 space. Now,
okay, so it looks like your project launched in August 2021. Since then, you have almost 10,000 items. You've done 821 ETH.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, and then so what's coming today that's new at the end of this collection?
Okay, so I want to talk about like what we've done musically, because this is something we're trying to really like pioneer in.
And like I said, we think, unfortunately for our audience, I bought, I think it's Space Fight NFT that had some great art. Generally, there was just a cool thing on Super Rare with the first music NFT on Super Rare. Music and NFTs, and obviously Snoop Dogg took his catalog for a while, took it off Spotify. It's back on, but I think, look, music NFTs hold so much promise. Been incredibly not successful. And so another space I'd love to see and makes a ton of sense. And so this is with this backdrop, it'll be really cool to hear what you do.
I just want to add one thing. You're speaking about music NFTs, and yeah, it hasn't been successful. Why? Because most of us consume music on streaming platforms, right? So people are just like, why should I buy this NFT? And
that's
that
hard
makes
to go.
sense.
That's what I had the same thing with my song. I was like, I want to mint it, but like, there's not a common place to like queue playlists and search and so on that's widely enough used that it's a huge barrier.
Right. Yeah, it is, and so that's why I think the person that's doing it best is Blau. When he started Royal and he started looking into music ownership, and he talked about this the other day. That's what blockchain and NFTs did for music, was that it added this extra for the first time. Regular, like normal people who aren't artists can actually co-own a song with an artist, right? And that's something you couldn't do before. And I think that's, at least for me, I think that's where, or us, let's say, I think that's where music NFTs make the most sense.
And there's now the ability to not just share ownership but share revenue stream.
Exactly. 100%. So that's
it's
exactly
like really cool. So like people who supported you early.
Yeah, that's something. Guys, just want to touch on that. That's something that I wanted to talk about. We have a collection called the Artist XP collection where people can stake their Lost Boys, earn our token, and claim a music NFT from our Artist XP collection. And in return, if submitted, they release the songs the holders claim on all streaming platforms, and that enables them to earn streaming royalties through their NFTs.
That's pretty cool mechanism. I mean, I definitely know that, broadly speaking, and I know some examples I can't get into yet, but I think generally using staking as a way directly for people to reward artists is a way the market is going, or there's going to be a lot of attempts at this. This seems to me where a lot of people want to figure this out, a way of, hey, I basically want to make bets on other artists and share if I succeed.
Yeah, definitely. And just to add on to what Rami was saying, and just to talk more about music NFTs in general, I think people also have the wrong idea. Like when you buy art for an artist, you're kind of supporting them and their career, right? That you're helping an artist. Let's say if you buy a one of one art piece or photography piece, like Guido does, you're helping that artist keep his career going, right? And eventually the market prices things, but you never, initially no one buys them for incentives, right? No one buys them to make money. They just buy them to support the artist. And I think music NFTs can also be thought of that way. Like you're just helping. You heard Rami, he has 120 million streams, right? But people don't understand the music business model is that you don't make, as an artist, you don't make that much revenue off these streams.
That's why live concerts are off the charts now. Most artists make all their money on live shows. Often the merch has been taken from them, but if they're lucky, merch too. And private shows, like, rich people having, like when Burn Dog is having his quinceanera or whatever, he'll have like a really
my quinceanera.
My quinceanera.
But yeah, I mean that's why it's been tough for music NFTs. But just like Rami said, I think our most exciting collection, we've dropped multiple collections. We dropped a secondary collection called Lost Girl. We airdropped off Rami music NFTs. We had AR activations. We've done a lot. We've integrated skins in Decentraland. We've partnered with Biopills to produce their soundtrack for their Bioverse. So we're really trying to push music NFTs forward. And yeah, go ahead.
What do we have today that's new or special that we're here to offer our incredibly smart and capable and talented and good judgment audience who has the brilliance to tune into this show?
So I mean, just like Rami mentioned, so our main collection is Lost Boy, right? through Lost Boy, you can stake your Lost Boy. You get our token. It's an ERC20. It has no value. It's just a utility token. And this will allow you to mint future drops. Future drops meaning our artist XP, which Aframi was talking about as well. And this artist XP is music that's produced in house. You know, it's smaller collections because it's full songs. And what we do is we called it artist XP because we're taking the holder through the artist experience of releasing a song, distributing it. I mean, we do all the work for them, right? If they
This is not no AI music. I make these songs. I make these fucking songs.
It's interesting. So you're saying these Lost Boy, like, I'm looking at the floor. Lost Boy 2466.0098. Then Lost Boy, the next one, actually the floor within like 6 sales theoretically is like 0.02. But what? So you buy one of these things.
Yeah, you can then you know stake them on our platform, and then you'll get the ERC20 tokens, and then from there you'll be eligible.
But what's gonna make these bad boys go up though? They've been around a while. Like why do you think they're gonna go up in value?
I mean, I don't. So that's one thing about us. Right, floor price is important. We've seen that, but we've seen a lot of people get wrecked. We've seen fake floors. We've seen hype cycles in 2021 that made other projects.
Yeah, and I don't think projects should talk about their floor. I guess what I'm saying is ultimately when you have an NFT, it is ultimately a financial.
For sure, I
buy it to have it go up and make money or get rewards or get basically it either has to give them some access to something. They need to get something out of it of value and hope they don't lose their money. So when we look at this, I'm with you. Floor price is not something you control, but you do control what you can do to drive value and then interest in the project. So why should somebody today run out in a tough market, and grab one of these?
Because everyone that's been around since last year left.
Exactly, and we're still here. We're still building and we're still doing our thing. So that's the biggest difference between us and them. And then that's not really
what do you guys have generally stuff like a project achieving new things for your project. Look, one of the most challenging things we're seeing is ultimately a lot of PFPs had a bunch of promise in 2022, like we started with metaverse and gaming, and you get daily, weekly shipments of Burn Dogler's underwear, stuff that people thought would be useful. But now a year later, all they have is empty promises, a profile picture, and a community. And it's very hard to keep that momentum. We see that even once some I didn't like, some I like, but there's no doubt PFPs that once traded at insane levels are now, not. And so I think my general challenge on PFPs, there's a set of standards, like it has to be distinct. You need to have a good community that provides value, typically in the form of alpha. You need a language. Rec Guy has wrecked. Cryptodes had vibe. Crypto dick butts have size. Or you have a little funny way of writing your name like goblins or motherfucker or whatever. So I think PFP projects are very difficult, and the money is generally made by the people who issue them up front and then some speculative period. So because this is an existing project, and I think I love what you guys are doing, but I hate to just be sort of blunt. It's what's going to make this go up? What's going to re-engage people? Do you have a huge artist? Is Alframi going to drop another 100 million listens and somehow benefit? Are we going to get, Burn Dogler doing dancing? What's going to make this thing go up? What are you excited
for 5Es? 5Es per dance.
And Guido and Burn Dog. Guido and Burn Dog.
I mean, just listening, sorry to interject here, but this is, and Gallup's brought up a good point. As a visual artist, people buy my art maybe because they connect with it, because they own it, because yes, as you said, OG, there's some, financialization of all NFTs, whether it's PFP or art. That's not something that we can get away from. And I think that this is
Yeah,
the
and you played
biggest.
that game well, Guido. You did. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I try to really,
Yeah.
I've tried to sort of bridge the gap between the two. But I think with music,
And Jude's like obviously the subject of your work is
it's helpful.
easy
Obviously,
seller
yeah, people can
among the
relate.
nerds.
But with music NFTs, this is the challenge, because if people buy my photograph or my art, they own that photograph or art, whether it's an edition or if it's a one-on-one, and then maybe one day they can sell it for more money, or who knows. But with music, essentially, the issue is that most of us are paying for a streaming service. We don't own the song, we're paying to listen to the song. And I think that this is actually the crux of why music NFTs are not sort of widely adopted right now is, do people want to pay to just stream and like out of sight, out of mind? Or do people want to pay to maybe own, and then perhaps, there is more financial incentives to own a piece of a song or whatever it is, or how you position it. And that's
You're
a
saying
challenge.
too, like photography is more, and art has a long history of collectors buying and owning. And I think this is a really interesting point between what Gallops and Alframi have said and what you're saying, Guido, is one, consuming is done through streaming services where all the songs are in one place and you can find them. Like when we were kids, it wasn't like that. You had to own tapes and CDs.
The radio, yeah, cue up the tape.
The radio, yeah, you had no control. But now everybody consumes music in a way where you can find whatever you want. Number two, which Guido, this is the first I thought of it that way. I had always thought dumbly too, like, oh, you can look at a screen easily and assess. But you're right. The fundamental structure of the music market is the art market's always been fundamentally structured for sales.
Buy and sell.
Oh, that's a really great point.
Music has been structured to completely take advantage of artists and
yes, that's right,
and license out the work, essentially, right?
It's fucking brutal, man.
No, but it's true. And so I think that
it's totally true.
I talked about this in the past. This is the biggest challenge. And
wow,
how do you? And maybe it's to your point, OG. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not a PFP project. Maybe it's access to a certain utility, access to behind the scenes to artists, to whatever it is. I don't know, but that's the hurdle.
I do think if you look at what people are used to buying, I always say that we don't we on the last one we were saying, if it looks like Axis Infinity, or if you're NFT Worlds and you look like Minecraft, or if you're used to consuming something and this is an extension of that. So the thing people are used to spending money on, it used to be we'd buy albums to get one song. Then you could just get one song. Now, though, everybody I know, I don't like being crowded, boxed in. I'm like a maniac, but everybody goes to a ton of live shows I know now. Like everybody I know is
100%.
And they're all used to consuming, and they're all used to the hierarchy of consumption. One of the big things that NFTs I believe in, and I think successful projects have, as modeled by Bored Ape, is your
I just want to add, sorry, OG, I just wanted to add one thing before we kind of like move on from that topic. You're talking about music NFTs and ownership, but that's actually what we're doing with Artist XP, is that the holder owns the song. They own a full song.
No, we're saying it's cool. I love it, but I think that's unusual. There's not a history of it.
That's true, and that's why we're trying something new and something where the holder actually gets an incentive, quote unquote financial incentive of generating royalties from that song.
I think that is your biggest. I mean, just from I'm a visual artist and I don't know a lot about music NFTs, but if I were in your position and I was marketing your project, that would be the number one selling point to get people interested into the project.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why you have another collection dropping like pretty soon, by the way, which is our second Artist XP, which you can claim with our lost tokens, and in return you get a full song which we will distribute for you, and in return you get the majority of the streaming royalties from it. And I think and that plays a big role in our ecosystem and what we're trying to do, because a lot of people have been. I mean, I'll send you the music once we're off the spaces, but a lot of people have been, enjoying the music and have been really looking forward to. It's something we can really capitalize on, and something we're looking to doing on a bigger scale for sure once everything is said and done.
Yeah. Oh, that makes a lot of sense and it's cool. So I just want to finish the other thought, but I think look, that's transformational, and I think to Guido's point, that makes it amazing but hard. So Guido and the rest, one idea I think to segment music might be then to sell what's already being sold, i.e., access, tickets, private concerts, so on. Again, difficult. That's, I guess, what like Gary Vee's sort of done with his conferences. But that seems, if people are willing to shell out bucks in music, separate from a streaming service, it's to go to a concert or go to an artist event.
Yeah, 100%.
That might be the easiest entry and access for music then.
Yo, we've got a question from Hefner in the audience. He says, how are you going to give the IP to the publishing and copyright?
Of what exactly?
Of what, Hefner?
Because as specified in the Artist XP, we share all streaming royalties from the song once we distribute them. Because most of our holders are not expertise when it comes to music. So what we do as an extra is we provide, if they submitted the songs, we provide distribution, and in return they get the majority of the royalties, actually all of the royalties, when the song gets released. And we've done that with over 130 songs already. So
let me, Rami, if you don't mind, sorry, let me flip this question on you then in terms of the royalty topic. What happens to the artist or the songwriter that wrote the song? They are not entitled to any royalties.
We produce the songs in house. I personally produce the songs, so
got it.
I'm the one that's giving out these royalties and accepting to give out these royalties on behalf of myself.
Got it. Sorry,
Yeah.
I misunderstood that part. Got it.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
And
Bro.
is there a plan perhaps to expand this so that other musicians can sort of tap into your platform? And
exactly. So that's something we're working on right now. Based on my experience in the music industry, I'm working on bringing in other artists that will do the same as well. Maybe they don't want to share. That's why I'm specifying on streaming royalties and not publishing royalties, because they're completely different scenarios. And streaming royalties is something we can account for, but we can't tackle into publishing royalties as well, because that's based on what the songwriter wants to give. Right. But based on what we're doing right now, and based on the collections we're doing right now, everything that's being produced is being produced by myself or by someone that's in the team that's working with me. So everything is being done based on like our consent.
What happens if something happens to you?
Sorry?
Not to be grim, but what happens if something happens to you? Is that in the project?
God forbid.
Yeah, so I mean, not for now, we're doing all our proof of concepts, just like Rami said, right, with him as the person. But the goal would be to expand this to other artists and provide artists with more things that they can use to create, right, like sample packs. Rami can talk more about that, or one shots and stuff. So we are trying to grow and help artists grow as well. But we're starting this off with Rami.
Have you guys considered, sorry to just throw this out there, but have you guys considered, instead of a PFP project or like an access pass or however you want to position it for the general public, to actually marketing those to musicians, people that are interested in making music, people that are interested in sort of being a part of the platform, and then them using that as their sort of ticket in and then building out that way?
Yeah,
that would be more consistent with like when I go to pay my producer and I like go to the studio and rent studio time and fuck around in there, and they have like, he has the actual like recording quality. He's like Emmy Award winner, so he has all that shit. But like the average artist who's like not established yet, that's not cheap to get to or get access to that kind of support and professionalism. That's a good point, Guido.
Yeah, definitely.
But again, though, then you get into all kinds of logistics and fucking shit.
Exactly. That's why in the second in the new Artist XP collection, we actually included a song that will be released under my own profile. And I don't mean to sound like obnoxious or whatever, but I have over like 1.3 million monthly listeners on on Spotify. So
That's awesome, man.
yeah, so
Just rap track. The next off-ramp is Guido. You should have Guido in the video taking pictures of me
no,
rapping.
no, really though. So like that would be like that would drive some extra value into what we're trying to do, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to like show people that you can, actually do something out of all this shit. So yeah.
Go,
But-
bro. Okay.
But
If we need to wrap up, Burn Dog, it's an hour and a half. We're gonna get
We're going
fired.
pretty deep. I mean, let's ask a couple questions.
Sorry, it was super. I love this, and look, part of what we're trying to do here is just again dig into these major, like the projects are a stepping stone to explore super cool and interesting issues. Like today, it was really fun for me. I learned a lot and thought a lot more about music, NFTs, and gaming, and so that's part of what we're doing. We're going to try to be more disciplined on time and fix the stupid audio. We're firing Burn Dogler between now and next week if it's not done. Upgrading to
Well,
Guido.
if you fire me, then nothing will get done. So
Guido, what do you think, buddy?
Yeah, I'm hired, eh?
Just like you squeeze Burn Dogler out, DJs, we'll squeeze him out on
I'd say I got Burn Dogger in my sights. That's it.
Yeah, man, fucking take him down. Shoot to
send me
kill.
send me a Guidenza, and we're good, man.
Yeah,
I'll step
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Fun, yeah. Well, super appreciate you guys. Okay, Guido and Burn Dog, anything before we go to rating?
Yeah. So Artist XP, what's the supply on this?
yes.
It's just 25. So 25 songs because they're full songs.
What's
Oh,
the
so
mint
there's only
price?
25
Yeah,
NFTs.
but the first collection was 130 songs.
Yeah,
How many NFTs? 130?
25. Oh, for the first one,
We had-
69.
Sorry, does each NFT represent a song? I'm sorry, I must be an idiot.
So we had two collections. We had a cassette collection and a vinyl collection. The cassette collection had one song each, and the vinyl collection had 4 songs each, but it acquired more lost. With the cassette collection, you actually get the stems of the song. So if you were a creator or you're someone that was making music, you can utilize the stems on your own way and do whatever you want with it. The total songs that came with the first Artist XP collection was 130 songs. But keep in mind that these are songs that are not AI generated. They're not.
Yeah, it's just something like 30. So 4 songs, you said each one?
20. There were 20 vinyls, so that's 80 songs, and the rest were cassettes. So one
Got it,
song
got it,
each.
got it.
So 130 songs total. But I can't stress enough on the point that these were not songs these were songs that we actually produced.
Right. We got that. So I think we got that now. And did you do them all at once? No, not in a bad way. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think we had the aha moment thing here. But when you drop these tracks, do you drop them like all in one bang?
No, we don't. So once it gets
Like Bird
submitted,
Dogler, just show up, drop it all in the first second,
No,
and be
no,
done
no.
for life. And you
Once-
stage it. We got
no.
Stage shows.
Once it gets submitted through our type form, we submit it just like any other release on our label, and we make sure that we pitch it through Spotify. We do the necessary process of actually pitching the song as if it was a label release, just like any other release.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, like I have a couple songs on Spotify. It's actually like quite a process. You need formal representation.
Thank you.
Like categorize and label the song, and
Thank you.
like there's a whole bunch of like paperwork and shit, and then you have to show where the royalties are going to, which is
Thank you.
basically a KYC process
Yeah.
to show
Yep.
ownership and all this. So what they're saying, of Rami, who made the songs, let's remember. Okay, he's saying, look, that process they handle, which is like, but it just, again, like, I think one of the things is like, until you've done something, you really never know. Like, you could read a book or whatever, be like, cool. Then you go to do it, and like one step in, you're like, holy fuck, I didn't know what this would be. And you spend all this time. So having been through this process and uploaded on SoundCloud, on Spotify, it's actually like not fucking, it takes work, you can't just be like, Spotify, here's my song.
Yeah, and not only that, we're fortunate enough to be working with a distributor that allows like split share. It doesn't have to go manually through us. The money or the royalties, whatever is generated, goes directly to the holder. None of it goes through us first. So it's pretty much been really a seamless process. Now it's just a matter of how do we what we're working on right now is how do we scale this in a way where not all the music is produced by myself. We have a full on team that's working on continuously making music that the holders enjoy and the holders want to be a part of. Really.
All right. Hey.
Okay.
All right.
Who wants to go first?
I'm going to ask a couple questions and we'll wrap it up. We don't want to turn it into a 3-hour consulting session.
Lawyers billing for hours, baby.
Yeah. So the original Artist XP, I'm seeing a supply of 69 on that. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Okay, cool. And then what's the mint price on the new one?
So it's
There's
gonna
no.
be,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, it's with our ERC20. So and we don't have a price yet, but it's,
what are you expecting? Any range or anything you can share? Like,
so I mean, our token has no value, but it's gonna be around 30K from our token.
Okay, so you hold the PFP to collect the token, right? You get as many of those as you can. You stake them, you collect the token, and then you get to mint the
Future
Artist
drops.
XP as they roll out.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Nice, man. I think
Guido, hold on, the great Guido. Do you want to go first?
You guys
Let's
want
kick
me
it
to
to
go
Guido.
first with my ring? Of course you guys do. So look, I mean, obviously there's a lot of challenges with music NFTs. I think that I would rate this at a 6.9, and only because only because I think that you got to work on the making simple people understand it easily. I think that is a big challenge in the NFT space for almost every project. I think even more so for music NFTs. I love what you guys are doing with like the royalty model. I like the fact that you guys are taking initiative and trying to turn this into something that hasn't existed, as far as I'm aware, in the space. And so that has huge potential. But the big challenge will be messaging and making people understand fully what they're getting and what they're, when they're buying whatever it is that they're buying. And also, to Gallup's point, is, the biggest challenge will be, how do you get the average collector or person or holder wanting to purchase these NFTs because they want to support the artists in their creative endeavors? And something that we have seen in like the visual arts. So that's the only reason. If you guys can tackle those challenges and overcome them, then I don't see any reason why you guys don't have all the success in the world. Certainly, with how hard you guys are working, you deserve it.
Thanks, Guido. Appreciate it.
Solid score, man. OG, you want to go next?
Yeah, I love how positive you are, Guido. I find it's so nice to hear, and I'm a big believer in positivity, and it's nice to see people who've been successful, who have faced a lot of challenges on the way, stayed positive. One of the things that's like always a challenge for me, and sometimes for me in business, it's super easy. Unlike in personal life, where I find it much more difficult, where it's sometimes hard, because like what I see here is like super successful amount of streams, like it's unbelievable. Guy, a team doing super cool stuff for an industry and a group of artists that I'm particularly, passionate about, because I'm like want to be, musician and as well as visual artist. So it's really, and I think I learned a lot. There was a big gap. I was like, why the fuck, and I think this idea of how we consume, I had realized, but the more general idea that Guido kind of opened my eyes to is like, look, there's no historical structure here to do this. And so what I think is like, you're doing wonderful stuff. I think like supporting it to support artists and the music business is wonderful. And I think but I think it's a very difficult and long road from I want to make money in NFTs, like not even a DJ. Like I'm a guy, look, I like to make money in NFTs and I have a long horizon. I just worry, like I always, whenever I do stuff in business, I like to have like very low downside, very big upside, and it's like as easy as possible. I want to know like each step exactly how easy it is. You have so many steps here that are trailblazing, which if you succeed will be wonderful. But from an investor perspective, for me, it's just a lot because I think like it's going to be money tied up, long period of time, long road to success. And so like I think supporting this project from what it could potentially do for artists in the industry, like that's super cool. I don't see, frankly, at this juncture, like I don't think it's easy money, and so I think that's being an objective system on rating. So my soul and like for the culture rating is super high because like I'm all about this. From a sheer profit, I think there's a hard road to hoe, and unless you guys have more sort of timeline on how like motherfuckers getting paid, unfortunately, like I just don't. I think financially it's going to be a challenge. So I'd rate it again probably because I think this set of challenges is different. You guys are an established project already, which has value. You sold 821 ETH that I can see. You've been clearly super successful. So none of that stuff worries me. I just think it's going to be hard to make money. So I'd rate you like a 5.5 as well. I think you're going to survive and figure it out. But I just think from a sheer, in a difficult market and trying to value NFTs, which is part of what we're trying to do here, is understand them and appreciate, but also, hey, if you're it's not financial advice, but will this NFT, in our opinion, how will it do in the market? And I think on that one, it's probably more challenging. So I love you guys though, and I want to fuck with you. And I'm sorry, I'm a weird guy. I just, even if I'm assessing myself, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I'll be honest and be like, I'm at like 1.3 on that. So it's nothing bad. I'm just being as best as I can, my perspective.
You are a weird guy, dude. That is for sure. So yeah, and one thing you guys are always we're gonna be honest on the show. We're gonna give honest feedback, right? We're not ever gonna fluff anything up. I think the Artist XP thing is cool. I was looking at the collection. It's small, which is good. You can stake the PFPs to get the ERC20, and then you can get the Artist XP, which is cool. Quick question. How much income are these Artist XP NFTs bringing to the holders? Like one sentence answer.
I'm actually not sure yet because it takes quite some time for royalties to get distributed. Sometimes 6 months, I think. So it depends. And I don't think it has been that long. But I mean, typically you're not going to see hundreds or thousands of dollars. So I'd say anywhere between like the 10 ranges. Double digits somewhere there.
Yeah, but that also varies based on how
For sure.
well the song does, and if you ever have an EP or a single that like whatever goes fucking viral or some shit, you're getting the royalties on that. So, and we're giving out 85%.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But you said you sold 120 million. It's per million. You get about $3 to $4 grand. So Burn Dog, that's what they told us.
No.
Yep.
$4 grand per million streams.
Yeah,
not
that's what I said.
100. Yeah.
No, 1 million streams
got it.
gets you $4 grand. So if they distribute 85% of it, if the thing does 1 million, you'll get what's 85% of $4 grand, about 3,500.
Yeah, got you guys. Okay, cool. I was just trying to get like an idea of like what this investment's worth.
I just broke the math down for you, motherfucker.
Okay, so yeah, you've got a lot of supply out there with the PFPs, and I get it. 2021 is different than it was now. I mean, I think it's kind of cool what you guys are doing. It's great that, you know, you're a big time artist. You got a lot of streams and everything. For me, it's not something that I would invest in. And I agree with these other two guys on music. NFTs are just much more difficult to market and to excel. You know, with a PFP, like a high-end PFP, it's your identity. You're seeing it everywhere. With art, you can flex it. If you own a Guidenza, like I can blast that all over the place and be like, look what I have. With a music NFT, I can post it. No one's gonna listen to it on Twitter because they're gonna be like, I don't feel like clicking that. Unfortunately,
that's what happened. That's right. That's what happened to me.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna rate it I'm going to give you a 5.7. I like the fact that you guys have stuck around and you're still plugging away. You've got a community and you haven't given up. So I'm going to give you some points on that. But music NFTs are super hard. But I love the fact that you guys are working on finding a way to do it right and that you haven't given up. So I'll do a 5.7. And then we got to do a giveaway quick, and then
Yeah,
we can wrap it up.
I just want to say one thing. I appreciate the honesty, and don't worry, we don't take anything personally, regardless of what people say or rate us, or you know, we still do what we have to do. And yeah, music NFTs aren't the thing. You know, we could have easily pivoted like any other collection and tried to create a metaverse or a game that's not even going to be out yet, but we stuck to our brand. We're gonna stick to it, and we're gonna keep going. So,
well, that answer just raised my rating, 7.5. Now there we go. Because I like that. That speaks my language.
No, that's real shit. Cool.
That's
yeah,
it.
I mean, we live in the space. You know, we've been here for a while, and
right on, man.
That's the right attitude. And I think again, look, in a way, I was telling Burn Dog, I wish it wasn't called RugRoast, because we're not here to be like dickheads and be rude to anyone. In fact, we have wonderful guests who we like respect deeply and their efforts. And what we're really trying to do is use it to put a context around. And so I think it's just sharing objective discussions as best we understand from a business perspective. And there can be many opinions. That's a great thing, you know, just because it's just an attempt to kind of give frameworks and ideas on how to approach the game.
Definitely.
Plus, to make fun of Burn Dogler at every turn.
I love it, man.
Giveaway, bro.
Cool.
Giveaway.
We got to give away the Hefe.
How long is that going to take?
I'm just going to pick one because Twitter Picker won't let me do it because we don't have 10 retweets on the tweet. So we're going to give it to DVNZY. So DVNZY, I'll just comment and say, hey, congrats. And then if you could just DM us and we'll connect you with Hefner and get you your free Hefe.
That's a scammer doesn't DM you. For real. That's happened on these shows where somebody like has a username.
It's happened to me so many times.
Right, Guido? That's
So
fucking
many.
crazy. Somebody will DM you right now and they'll be like, oh.
Yeah.
And it's like some other motherfucker who was listening and set up an account, right, Guido?
Yeah, 100% happens every time. That's why I don't respond. I always email them
me too,
message them.
Totally, I'm with you. Don't worry, Burn Dogler probably gets scammed right now.
I mean, I've had that happen to me once. So
I've never been scammed. I've never been rugged. I've never been that wrecked or wrecked in that way. So
I've been wrecked.
Somehow we survive. But let's see.
Okay, well, we super appreciate everybody. Really appreciate your time. Sorry we've had these audio issues. We'll have them fixed by next week. Like I said, otherwise we'll ritualistically sacrifice Burn Dogler and try to get Guido to stay.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's early. You know, yeah, for sure, dude. Thanks for coming on and thanks for the hard work you do in the DGens Discord as a mod. It's amazing, dude.
Every morning I wake up. That's my goal, is to work harder and harder in that Discord.
Love it.
Well, it's good to have celebrities hanging out. But guys, just a reminder, if you like the YouTube, the Twitter Spaces sucked because the audio didn't work. Sorry about that. But like, subscribe, whatever, spread the word, whatever you guys can do is greatly appreciated. Podcast will be up in a little bit. Thanks to the guests for coming on. Thanks, Guido. Thanks, OG.
Thanks, everyone. Fun as always. And really, the projects is always really great. Thank you for showing up and working with us. Much love, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
Correct.
Cheers.
It's a RugRoast. Please get smoked. You come with the real or you end up toast. RugRoast.